Hello, and welcome back to the Triangle Business Podcast. I'm one of your co-stars, Joey Natale, followed by,
Scott Moore.
hey y'all, welcome back again. Today we're going to be talking about follow through in terms of like marketing. Whether, are you doing too much? Are you doing enough? Are you bothering the crap out of people? Or like actually you're not doing enough? And like where's the line in a lot of ways? Um, uh, Go ahead and take it away, Scott. Whatever comes up for you on that.
Um, in my years as a business coach, this I think this comes up with almost every client at some point.
Yes.
And I believe that we spend way too much time and energy worrying about it.
Yes.
And we almost always end up following through less
Yes.
because we're worried about it.
Yes.
And the um I have one. I know the correct answer to this already. This can be like a 3-minute podcast. Here's the correct answer.
Yes.
However much marketing and follow up you told them you were going to do
Yes.
is the right amount for you to do.
Mm, okay.
Now, um, here's some things I think are maybe not best practices. Don't put somebody on your newsletter or mass marketing email list if you did not get their permission to put them on that list.
Yes.
Um, I knew uh, there's one instance I can think of. This is so long ago. It was when I was still deciding which BNI to join.
Yeah.
So 14 years ago, something like that, 13, 14 years ago. I go visit a group and they're like, hey, we're giving you a packet with all of our business cards in it. And the president of the chapter says, do not take all of our business cards and put us on your mailing list. That's bad etiquette. And that's a no-no. And I was like, right on.
Yeah.
He gets my business card, puts me on his mailing list without permission. And then his unsubscribe did not function.
Oh no.
And I mean, granted, like this is back in the ancient times, right? I literally had to block him
Yeah.
so that I stopped getting his stupid email or like newsletter. Like that's incorrect marketing and follow up, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
But I mean, have you had that happen to you?
Yes. What's interesting, so I use a couple different emails, some contracting gigs I do, and one of them I find very interesting is like, there's one email with one contract gig that I do that like it's not advertised anywhere at all. And like they're like, I saw you on LinkedIn with such and such. I'm like, how did you find that information out? And how did you get this email? Which just baffles me. So like immediately block them. So like um people putting me in their email list is like it's annoying, frankly. And I don't like it unless I trade my email for your free thing or information or video that I'm consciously aware I'm going to do and I know it's going to happen
Sure.
and then I'll unsubscribe unless I really like your stuff. I don't want to support you.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
find
that
people even overthink that part of it. They're like, I don't want to hurt their feelings by unsubscribing from their newsletter,
I don't
but,
care.
and I'm just like, did they ask your permission to start receiving the newsletter?
Yes.
Because if they didn't, then, you know. But to me, it is like, I hate to say it like this,
Yes.
but like, stop thinking about them so much.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have a process you follow.
Yes.
If you want to know what attracts people to your business, I mean, it's probably lots of things. And I'm speaking very generically here. But people who do whatever they say they're going to do, that's a big one for me.
Mhm.
It's how I try to conduct myself. And, it means a lot of things. It means that, you know, maybe they're just really into being their word, which I like. Maybe it means that they have really good mastery over control of their own time and processes, which I like. Um, but I mean, I believe every business should design a marketing system whereby there is regular follow through,
Hmm.
um, until you're told not to. And, but if I go to a networking event and I get people's business cards, and when they hand me the business card, I say, I would like to talk to you more. I'm going to follow up with you to schedule a one-to-one. I mean, we talked about in some of our networking podcasts about, like, had a whole system for this, like which pocket
Yeah.
do I put the business card in and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But like, if I tell you I'm going to do that and then I do that, they're like, well, I don't know much about this guy, but he followed up right away. And he told me he was going to follow up right away. And then he did. So that's already a little, you put a marble in the marble jar for credibility there.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and But also, like, one of the glorious things about it is I don't spend any time thinking about it, because I'm just like, I have my stack of business cards. I go through the stack and email, 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 schedule it all out. And then I'm done, and my brain can do one of the many other tasks that I have assigned it. Um,
Yes.
so
Well said.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about whether I should follow up with them.
That's a good question, or it's a good thought. And what comes I'm getting to a question is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
So like you've given me some good advice. I'm going to say two pieces here and I'm going to kind of throw it back to you in a moment. Is like I like one thing. I've actually been lately this week been giving a lot of conversations with my clients about this, especially in career coaching and business coaching, things like that, where they're like, well, they didn't follow up with me. What do I do? And I said, well, I'll give you two pieces of advice. One from Scott, my mentor, and also another dude. Um, yours is like, I think it's contextual in some degrees of like, I'll call it the three times rule. Just like, and I love the analogy you gave me, which is if you are talking with a girl or a fella and you say like, hey, I really like you. Let's go on a date. They're like, yeah, I really like that. And then you get their number, you text them and they don't reply. Like, how many times are you going to follow up? Maybe two, probably three at most. And then I had another mentor say the 10 times rule. I know we talked about this one time. And their kind of advice is you follow up once, minimum once a week, maximum one every 2 weeks. And you follow up with them and you preferably follow up in different forms if you have the ability to, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, physical mail, if you have that ability. If you do, go for it because that one's a weird one. Um, in person, obviously the best. And I think that both of those are maybe not extremes, but different use cases. So where I feel like let's use getting on a stranger's podcast. You haven't met the person, they're not even in your town, things like that. I think maybe the 10 times rule might be more appropriate. At least that was how I was taught by this individual because they don't know you. Obviously you're not the messaging itself as a conversation we could have, but like let's assume it's a genuine interest, like you do your research and like you're like, I really genuinely want to like connect and collaborate, things like that, versus just trying to sell something, which is not advised for strangers, unless you're a cold caller, which is a different conversation that we're not going to get into today. um, but then there's kind of the in-person one, which I think is more, I would argue, relevant. I'll hear your thoughts in a moment to kind of the three times rule. Because if you have like a one-on-one, you meet them at a networking event, you have a really good conversation, build some good rapport, and they either say they're interested in your services or at least want to talk, and it may not be interested in your services. Like, you follow up and they're like, the advice, like, tell them you will, don't just assume. Like, I'm gonna follow up with you. And then one of the things that comes to mind, I guess I call it the negative sell. There might be a different word when it comes to follow up versus selling is like after your second or third time, you would always advise me, which I agree with, is like, hey, maybe you're busy. Maybe this isn't the right time. Whatever the reason. It sounds like, this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna follow up. Feel free to reply, but just know that I'm not going to be reaching out anymore,
Right.
kind of
I
thing.
think
And
that the sales industry term for that is the walkaway close.
mm,
Like I'm done here, I'm walking away. And then
mhm.
they're like, wait, 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 Um, have you ever heard of the sales pyramid?
like like scams, like
No,
sales
no, no,
pyramid
no,
schemes.
not pyramid schemes, but like the
Okay.
sales. But I'm going to get it wrong if I try to describe it in detail. But
Okay.
the thing to like all the people you talk to, the the lesson from the sales pyramid is there's only a very small number of people who might buy from you today.
Oh yes, I have. Yeah.
And it's they have to be like they have to perceive that they have a problem you can solve, and they have to have the means to pay you, and they have to like the way that you do business, and they have to know about you. And so and then they have to be like they haven't already solved it by going to somebody else. So the amount of people left at the top tippy top of that pyramid is really small. And so like let me be really clear. I'm not like you should be following up with everybody with an eye towards selling them
Yes.
all the time. That's annoying, and
Yes.
no, you shouldn't be doing that. If you get to a sales conversation and they either are a maybe, well, actually, if they're a no, then stop treating them like a sales conversation. And I would always just say like put them back into orbit. That was always my vibe. Is like, where did I meet them? And keep going there. Because if I got a sales conversation out of it, then maybe I'll get another sales conversation with them at another time when they're at the top of the pyramid.
Right.
Or I have no evidence to suggest that if I attracted one person to a sales conversation at through that mechanism, why wouldn't why wouldn't I try again? It's
Mhm.
like, oh, I got a bite on my fishing line. I'm gonna keep fishing here until something else happens, right?
Yes.
Um, but the one some of the ones that I think actually trip people up a lot is like they were we've talked about this a lot. Like they're a maybe during a sales conversation, which means you need to get them to a yes or a no somehow.
Yes.
The ones that can be really difficult are the people that said yes during the sales conversation
Yes.
and they haven't pulled the trigger on moving through your process.
Right.
I was talking to a client earlier this week about how in their service business, like they need information from the client. And it's like non-trivial information. It's
Yeah.
like information you have to go through your stuff and find it and bring it to them. And they'll be like, well, it's been weeks since we had the initial sales conversation.
Yeah.
They said yes. They still haven't gotten me the information. And this person was like, I don't want to bug them. I'm like, I make up that they hired you to bug them
Yes.
because until they get the information to you and you do your thing, the service hasn't been performed and they still have the same problem that they came to you about.
Hmm.
But you're over here like, but what if I'm bothering them by, well, it's vacation season, we're in the summer now, and
Yeah.
a lot of time, and I'm like, stop caring if they're upset about it and just do your process.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like. I'm a big fan of weekly. Like if I owe somebody a piece of information and they bug me about it once a week, I am not mad about it. Not at them. I might be mad at myself.
Yeah.
And I might feel bad that I'm wasting their time by having to continue to follow up with me.
Yeah.
But I'm never like, oh, how dare you email me again this week about the thing I'm supposed to give you.
Yes. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, what do you think is the right frequency for you?
I want to comment on what you said first before I answer that
Sure.
question is like that's a good point where like, one of the things that we do in our coaching business is like we hold you accountable. And like that is a form of holding someone accountable, gently, harshly, whatever flavor or need that they have in your style. That's the thing. But that's part of what we do, which is creates effectiveness. But I think it's very true, like if they've already said yes, like not that you get to be more aggressive, but like you basically have their permission more so. And one of the things I wanted to say about that was just like, where is the line, would you say, between bothering and like an appropriate amount of marketing? So I think I'm gonna fudge this, but like the statistics, I think roughly were like you got to follow up like 8 or 7 times, and now it's like 17 times or something ridiculous because we're bombarded with so much more attention grabbing, social media and other things like that today versus even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So, um, where is a line? Is there a line? Because marketing,
I-
advertisement's a thing, but
yeah,
follow
I
up,
think
yes,
that there's two different questions operating there though.
yes,
Like I'm not saying it's a bad question. I'm
right,
saying yes, like I'm willing to I have no reason to disagree with the data I've heard over and over and over again that says it takes somewhere between 7 and 12 touches or whatever to to get your marketing across, and that most people give up after the third one.
yes,
Um, but like if you if you cold call somebody 12 times, I mean, you'll probably have an answer.
yes,
Like how much effort went into the cold calling and what are your results? Like the results of cold calling industry wide are usually 1 to 2%, right? So it's a
yes.
grind, but some industries that's how they do.
Yeah.
But the in the land that we live in small business,
Mhm.
um, you know, you and I met through networking. We talk a lot about networking. I'm just
Yeah.
going to use that as an example.
Sure.
Okay. I meet somebody at a networking event. They hand me their business card. I should decide in the moment if I think this feels like a possibility, right? Um, I'd love to talk to you more. I'll follow up with you to schedule a one-to-one, right? Now maybe they're like, I'm busy right now, and like, okay, I'll put you back. I'll try following up with you again. That I'm probably gonna spend 3 shots on, like we talked about, the dating world.
Yes.
Um, Also, I just please don't come to me for dating advice. I'm been married forever. But 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 if I keep going back to the networking event where I met them, those are also touches. Like if they're there, that's a touch.
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you. Still, one of these days we'll get together and have that coffee we've been talking about. Yeah, that sounds good. How you been? Right? That's a touch.
Yeah.
Um, Inviting them to come, I say, hey, we're doing an open garden. It has nothing really to do with my business, but if you'd like to come out and get some free veggies, feel free. That's a touch.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that there's first of all, you slap them on your mailing list and they get your newsletter. If they even if they have permission from you, like if they or, excuse me, if you get permission from them, if they're like,
Yes.
yes, put me on your newsletter, it sounds like you put out interesting stuff. Do those count as touches? Sure. At that point, yes, they said yes to it. It's popping up in their inbox. They're seeing your name. They
Mhm.
might even read your stuff. I mean, I think we're full of hubris about imagining that anybody reads our newsletter or even listens to our podcast, right? Um,
We don't have a
uh,
newsletter yet, so
yeah, not yet, not yet. But I mean,
not
like,
yet.
but some people will.
Yeah.
Um, and and so I'm just careful about like what do I consider to be a touch. And if I've got to get to 10 or 12, like if I go to a networking event, that networking event like once a year, it's
Yeah.
going to be a long time.
Yeah.
If I go there once a week, it's not going to be that long a time.
Yeah.
Um, but once they've said yes to something, like again, failure to follow up with them, uh, I would follow up more than once a week if they've said yes and they're not taking the step of, you know, like scheduling a session or paying you the money or whatever needs to happen in order to get the relationship moving.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm real like I'm not, I hope I'm not rude about it, but I'm pointed about saying that like I'm in the business of getting people results.
Yes.
You like I can't do that for you if we're not working together, and we can't be working together until you schedule a thing.
Hmm.
So do you want to do this? Do you still want to do this? I mean, if you're having second thoughts, let me know. But otherwise, we need to get this on the calendar
Yes.
because that's my boss.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it is.
and
On the calendar, it's not going to happen.
right.
So,
And I mean, most of the time it's pretty favorable. I can't ever remember anybody being like, I need you to quit bothering me about this. I've had plenty of people say, I'm so sorry. We had a thing happen here, or, the kids just got out of school and we went on a flurry of vacations. We went to 50 graduation parties in 2 weeks or whatever it was.
mhm.
And, like, stuff happens,
Yeah.
but I don't recall anybody ever saying, quit bugging me about it. Because it's kind of my job to bug people until they get what they want.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. And that can be hard for a lot of people. To kind of answer the question I said I would earlier about frequency is I think once a week is a really good frequency. I think what comes to mind about this is related, but a little bit of a tangent is I was listening to a different podcast
How
and
how dare you?
I know. And so it was this comes from Dr. K, healthy gamer. He's a psychiatrist and a yogi, cool dude, nerdy dude. Love his stuff. And he asked a really interesting question. And he was like, how many hours spending time with somebody does it take to build a friendship? It's a range, actually.
Hmm.
Now, for those who listen, take a guess. I'm gonna give you the answer now. It's about 50 hours to 200 hours, roughly.
Really?
Yes, to build a friendship. And if you're meeting with somebody once a week for only an hour, that's going to take a while to build. Now, if you're doing D&D sessions which are 4 hours a week, that's a different story, right?
You're
You know what I
wasted.
mean? And so, like, let's not take it just at face values at the numbers. I think it really depends on the type of interaction you're spending with somebody. Like, if you're doing, like, let's say pickleball, some sort of contact sport, like, there's different interactions there versus very formal coffee meetings versus like you're going to a really intense seminar or event where like vulnerability is shared, like some of the leadership trainings that we went to, like you're going to build really deep connections very fast. Granted, you're with each other for a few days, more hours. So like, context matters here. But I think this is really relevant to this conversation because it's like when you have a phone call with somebody or you have a conversation with like there is a bit of rapport built. So there is more of a connection built. And I know sometimes really people they feel like why we had such a good time. This is also related to dating. Like we just hit it off so well, professionally, romantically, friendship wise. I don't understand. And like it does feel not good. Like that's for some people. Some people don't give a shit. We're not talking about those people here. But like,
Sociopaths.
yeah, we're not talking about those people here.
Probably
Like
not the
so
best podcast for sociopaths, but
no, no, it's not. So it sometimes doesn't feel good. And like it's easy for
wait,
us
I
to,
want to understand which part of it doesn't feel good.
if you have a connection with somebody, a
Ah,
good conversation, and they're like, yes, let's follow up, and you're feeling really good about it, and then they just feel like they ghost you.
oh, sure.
Yeah, like that doesn't feel good. Acknowledge that for a moment. And also, like, you get to push past those things, or at least if you see it's worth the energy. And in business, it usually is because there's, like you said, we're in the business of getting results for people. So I mentioned that also about the friendship piece because, like, the concept of know, like, and trust. The more
Of
time
course.
you spend with somebody, the more deeper the relationship you're going to get. I make up the story that like when you have more of those let's say deposits of trust and connection built, like there will be more likely to follow up kind of piece. So when you kind of do cold outreach, cold calling is one thing, and I think that's I'm personally not a fan of it, but like reaching out cold messages, which is little, well, not it's not unacceptable. So I'm gonna be careful with my language there. But like, you know, how do you start a friendship? You gotta say hi to somebody. Kind of
Well,
piece.
yeah. I I mean, I think we could do a whole hour sometime just on this.
Yeah,
But so first of all, I'm super shocked that at the assertion that it takes 50 hours to form a friendship.
which is
Like,
crazy.
and I think that maybe that's just down a little bit to my, loose terminology, right? Like a couple weekends ago, I was up in Boston at my friend's house con that I go to every year, and and there are people there that I've spent 8 hours with, like I've been in the room with them, but like not actually interacting with them unless we're at a game table.
Mhm.
And maybe I've had two sessions that they were in two over a 2 year period. And I would call that person, I'm like, my friend.
Right.
And it are we really friends? Is that really just an acquaintance? I don't know. But I mean, I'm not too hung up on the terminology. I'm not trying to gatekeep friendship, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I hope that their definition of what constitutes a friendship isn't gatekeeping it either.
I think what comes to mind, this is just brief. They didn't go into much detail here, so that would probably warrant a deeper study to then speak more thoroughly on the matter. But what comes to mind for me is like it's when you spend 50 hours with somebody, like you're gonna probably see them, maybe not in the extreme of romantic relations, like see them at their best, see them at their worst, but you're gonna see a little bit more fluctuations. Versus if you're
Sure.
spending 2 hours with somebody, you may see them only at their best. So like that's an aspect that comes to mind. I I think you can feel really good about somebody spending less than 50 hours with somebody. But like I think what comes to mind about that as well is it's like there's a mutual bond that's been more solidified versus just began to connect and form. So hence the more establishing of the trust, friendship, fun, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
you at 50 hours of hanging out with somebody, you're going to figure out like things that you like, things that you don't like, things you can talk about, things you don't talk about, whether it's extreme or whatnot, or but like, yeah,
Well, I've I'll mention this. I brought it up a bunch of times, I think. One of the rules that governs the world I live in, my perception of the world I live
Mhm.
in, is that 80% of whether somebody likes the 80% of whether I like someone is whether they like me.
Yes,
And I believe that's true for almost everybody. And I've said before, like practice liking people. I always find it interesting to ask the question. Um, I, I've asked most of my close friends this, but like I say, what percentage of people do you think are likable? And I get wildly different answers. Um, some people give a really high number, some people give really low numbers. Um, but regardless, if I walk into a room and I'm like, everybody's probably going to be pretty cool here, I'm usually right
yeah,
because I love being right. And so I'm cherry picking the evidence that to suggest that I'm right. But if I come in thinking like, if I think that and I sit down with somebody to talk to them and I'm like, there's probably something amazing about this person.
yeah,
I just don't know it yet.
yeah,
And then I learn some amazing things about them and I'm like, oh, look, and I'm going to learn some things about them that are like not amazing, like some bad things.
yes,
And and the amazing stuff usually outweighs the bad things.
yeah,
And sometimes it doesn't.
yeah.
But I think this is relevant to the topic in that if you made a good enough impression on somebody to
Hmm.
have their permission to follow up with them,
Hmm.
you the amount of follow up you'd have to do before it became annoying to them is probably way more than you think it is.
Hmm.
And if you don't follow up, then I think it's really easy to undermine the trust in the relationship in the early days. If
Yes.
they're like, well, you said you were going to call me and you didn't call me. You said you were going to, send me some times that we could get together and you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you've got to know, like, and trust somebody, you already tick the first. I mean, again, I, never minding the definition of friendship and how many touches or time that takes for a second.
Right. Right.
If they're like, I met this person, um, we had a nice conversation, we agreed to follow up. I would say they for sure know you. If you agreed to follow up, they probably like you, or else they wouldn't have agreed to that. So
Hmm.
now it's about trust. So did you do what you said you were going to do? Because that's the literal thing that builds trust.
Yes.
Um, so um, yeah,
Well said.
but like also just have a damn system and follow it.
Well, I think that's a good way to close the episode is like, what is your system and what do you recommend? Because I have thoughts too on that.
Well, so my usual for I have two times of the week that I usually do admin,
Okay.
Monday and Friday. Um, which is interesting because like I don't usually work that much on Fridays, but on Fridays before I let myself do whatever I want to do on a Friday, um, I just ask like, do I have any outstanding like things I'm supposed to do? And I keep a list.
Hmm.
And um, if I have anything outstanding to do from that week, I just send out all those emails that, hey, I know we talked about getting together next week. These are the times I have available. And then I can feel good about, you know, turning my brain off, my coaching brain off and, doing different things.
Yeah.
Um, but don't I don't generally drop the ball and follow through because I have a set time to do it and I
Yes.
have a practice around it.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that
just
is,
don't care if I might be bugging them. I'm
yeah.
like, I told you I was going to follow through. Here I am doing it. If
Yes.
that's too much for you, just let me know.
I think that's really key, especially the set time you scheduled in, especially for our neurodivergent, specifically ADHD individuals. Guilty here. Um, Having the system, having a regular cadence that you don't have to kind of autopilot. Well, this is the time I do the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing above all. Um, for ADHD people and even people who are not ADHD, it doesn't matter what you are. Um, a system that comes to mind, more sort of organization, frankly, is just like get an Excel sheet, get a Google Sheets, doc, and just drop all Google. Sorry. Anyway, and just drop all your list of business cards, names, and that, and the like, maybe a note about them. When did you meet them? When did you last follow up? How did you follow up? Send a text, send a voicemail, send a thing like that. It
Well,
was
I mean,
one of
what you're
those
describing there is the function of a CRM.
pretty much. And so like
But
I'm just giving a basic one for people who don't
yeah, if
have
if
it.
it a spreadsheet handles the volume that your business generates,
Yeah.
fine. Like then do that.
Yeah.
Make sure all the, on whatever your schedule is, just make sure the right boxes got ticked and you're probably good to go.
Yeah. And if that seems too complicated for you, which sometimes it is for new people or people who really struggle with this, um, I've adopted using LinkedIn where if you don't have it, this probably won't work for you. But like LinkedIn tells you the order of you connecting with people, what day, maybe not time, what day you met with them. And for me, it's a picture. I like this personally because like I don't remember names. I remember faces. And I like LinkedIn because your face and name are there and I can remember what you do. I'm like, this really helps me craft a better follow-up message for you.
Yeah.
And so I've found, because I used to I have a virtual business card. I don't have a physical one. Not against it, just don't have it. Um, and like that's just been really helpful for me because then I can have the order when I reached out to them of who I connected with like that. So that's just something I've been using, kind of more the shorthand. It's been helpful. So I just wanted to share that, with everybody. Any other tools, thoughts, or closing
I
wisdoms?
think I'll land it like this, which is if you have a process that you are executing regularly,
Yes,
you can always look at the results and change the process.
yes.
If you're like, I've been following up with people every week and I keep getting emails from them saying, stop bugging me. I'll, I'll get the thing to you when I get it to you.
Hmm.
Or, you know, stop trying to set up a meeting with me. I'll, I will let you know when I'm available, right? Don't call me, I'll call you. If you get that result a lot, modify your system
Hmm.
and change the process that you're doing. Like now I'm going to try every 2 weeks. What results do I get from that? But if you're just like going on vibes, like I'll just follow up when it seems like I haven't bugged them in a while. Not a system, not a process,
Yeah.
and therefore it's really difficult to gauge your results.
Hmm.
And so I'm just a big fan of like, execute, see what happens,
Hmm.
and then modify based on what happened.
Yeah.
Uh, so anyway, yeah, fun topic. It's just come up with like clients of mine multiple times in the last week. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm bugging them. Stop worrying about bugging them.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, what about you? Any closing remarks?
Yeah. I'm just kind of echoing what you said, just like the biggest thing that stops people, a lot of people, not most people, or not, there are a few who this does not stop them, is what I'm trying to say, is worrying about what they'll think of me and how it makes us feel. So follow up is important. So that's all I have to say about that. Um, that concludes our episode. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next time, y'all. If you like what you're hearing, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, comments. We're looking for guests. We love to support your business and spotlight you and talk about how awesome you are and pull out more awesomeness that you may forget or don't acknowledge all the time. So hear about that. So
Right on.
see y'all later next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week. Bye.